somehow, nevertheless, you notice that despite that, if you walk by yourself periodically, you'll notice like a truck will slow like it's like fucking shit, dude. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna spy? Okay, so why do dolphins not end up on pirate ship flags? So I've been having this sort of thought. Okay, the thought's really basic. It's that, look at somebody's got a loud motorcycle. It looks like we're in an Egyptian, whatchamacallit. I've been watching a lot of documentaries, and these two kind of have that look. Look, a pyramid. I found it myself out here in nature. Okay, so anyways, what were we talking about? Why do pirates put things like skulls and crossbones on their flags and crows and ravens and shit? But when was the last time you ever saw a pirate with a dolphin on the flag? And yet the dolphin is the most natural, obvious candidate for the dolphin is the most obvious and natural candidate for the pirate flag. Let me explain. Okay, so crows and ravens. These guys, they pretty much stick with their wives. They're really smart. They dance, they count, they do weird shit. Dolphins, on the other hand, though, dolphins have a bros before hoes policy. It turns out in the dolphin world, some of the strongest bonds are between two male dolphins that are part of a gang. So dolphins actually form gangs, and then they get gay with other dolphins too, and they'll have sex with their blowholes, which means they can't breathe while they're doing it, by the way, which is pretty interesting. Also, male dolphins have been seen taking fish and killing them and eating them, the inside of them, and then using the fish head, okay, to masturbate. That's dolphins. I'm not talking about dolphins. I watched yet another documentary about dolphins, and it showed these dolphins out in a bay of fresh water that connected to the ocean. So I guess it was salty enough. And these two dolphins had taken some sort of long python-like snake or eel, I'm not sure, and they had killed it, and they had managed, in the photographer caught them doing it. Two male dolphins were using the dead eel / snake to masturbate. Dolphins also are known to kidnap pufferfish. I guess they get a little high off of them. And then you know how the Aztecs would take human heads and kick them around for fun in the big soccer match? Well, guess what? Dolphins like to take pufferfish and kick them around and abuse the snot out of them and get high for fun. So one of the things that people don't think about with dolphins, the dolphins are known for rape gangs, crime crime syndicates. Do you know dolphins actually form gangs of other male dolphins and fight other male dolphin gangs? The male dolphin gangs are known for kidnapping female dolphins for weeks at a time. And just, dolphins are they're not like sharks, okay? So I sold the house of this limo, like a favorite limo driver for a lot of famous people. And it was a house he had custom built based on all these famous people. And one of the guys he drove around was Barry White. And he said Barry White had a tank of sharks in his kitchen that he bought a cul-de-sac, put guard towers on the end, a middle-class neighborhood. He said it was surprising because it was an upper middle-class neighborhood. Instead of a mansion, he bought every house in the cul-de-sac, put his family, his friends in them, put some guard towers up, and he said that he had a huge-ass shark tank in his kitchen with 1 foot long sharks. And then he said, I think he was probably using them to keep his energy straight. He also said Barry White would randomly go to Las Vegas to the casino in the middle of the night, and his favorite guy to take him was the guy whose house I sold. And he said he would show up in a black cape every time. Anyways, so on the shark thing. Sharks are more like reverent when it comes to prey, okay? A shark, in my opinion, is a more reverent creature. But a dolphin turns it into a fucking sport. Their little fucking permanently smiling faces You know what I think? Do you know that dolphins used to look, they used to look a lot like wolves. They think they had fur, and they used to be land animals. You don't believe me? Go look it up. Turns out, so when the Bible says things like, oh, the lion's going to lie with the lamb, it actually translates the wolf will lie with the lamb. Well, guess who the original wolf was? It wasn't the wolf. Good old Fenrir himself may have been the creature we now know as dolphins and whales. And perhaps somewhere in the midst of the Mediterranean, deep, deep down, looking like caves and labyrinths, battleships crashed on the side, not even knowing it's a living thing that just swallows whales whole and gets little bubbles of oxygen right from the depths. But who knows? Who knows? So on the dolphin type of subject, dolphins were walking around on all fours, and they were the crafty creatures as they are now. Now, it turns out the serpent was on all fours and had legs and was craftier than the other creatures in the garden, right? But then this creature is cast down to crawl on its belly. Do you know that dolphins then went through a state where they lost their legs? I think it's because they were using their psychic telepathic powers so much that they essentially lost their legs. And by the way, they suspiciously look like Skeksis from the Dark Crystal. So dolphins, anyways, they lost their back legs. They crawled around on their bellies, just like the serpent eating dust on the seashore. And then they made another evolutionary jump straight into the ocean, which is interesting because it also says Satan was cast down into the depths of the ocean. So then how can Satan be cast on his belly, eating dust, and then cast into the depths of the ocean? And then he had legs, and he was more crafty than all the serpents. And the humans got the tree of knowledge from him. Well, dolphins have these brains that have more folds in them than we do. In fact, 50 million years ago, they were crafty. Crafty as fuck. Walked on all fours. Human beings, at some point, because sometimes we have like oysters, people say, but what about the fossil records saying they're this old or that old? You know, there are fossil records that show dinosaur imprints with human ones. You got to tell a pretty fancy story to figure that one out. How about that they can take a live clamshell, and it's frequently, you could get like a 50,000-year-old carbon dating off of a live clam. So depending on how the creature and what it was made of and how it decomposed, your carbon dating can be completely off, right? So the reality of this situation is, it is distinctively possible that while we've been looking for a worm-like creature to be the serpent in the garden, it could actually have been dolphins. When they were running around on all fours using their gang style, and humans watched them and thought, do we need to be reverent and just hunt to hunt? Or could we turn hunting into play and cruelty into a game? It was the knowledge of good and evil. And I think the dolphins let us in. I think they are psychically, along with other sea creatures that were originally mammals, their brains have been developed for a long time. According to science, they probably manipulate matters on Earth above the land far more than we ever know. Oh, I know, in your pride you'll say, it's not possible, it's not possible. But everybody talks about the tree of life, right? As if it's some, okay, tree of life, this is definitive. But what about the mycelium of life? What about the fungus? What about the fungi in the soil? Because I dare to say to you that the tree of life dates to the tune of the fungi under the soil, according to science. And so here we see humans walking above land. But who could be ruling us psychically? Not aliens from the skies. It could be dolphins and whales, you guys. Further, dolphins have these special things in their brain where they're able to send whole pictures to one another when they send thought forms. Science. So, could a dolphin send a thought form to a human that aliens kidnapped and raped them? Yes, they could. Yes, they could. They do that shit in the ocean. It's already documented. Think about it. Dolphins.